Rev up your engines!
Well, old Elon's Tesla isn't doing too good. There's many things that are going wrong. Well, one of the big ones is Tesla owners are now trading in their EVs at record levels. And of course, they blame it a bunch on political affiliations, that they don't like the stuff that Trump's doing. Oh, he's right-wing. We're left-wing people with our electric cars, in quotes, saving the planet, right? Well, now they're trading in, and guess what? They're not getting much for them. Edmunds reported the highest ever selling of Teslas and buying other cars from other manufacturers. Well, you know, as they say, the crap is literally hitting the fan. Of course, a lot of the reasons are they cost too much. People have range anxiety, and they're looking at other brands saying that, hey, what do you get for your money here? Do I really need all this spaceship crap on a car? The Chinese are making them a lot simpler. I can tell you, their electric cars are a lot simpler. They go fine, but they don't have all that complexity. The Chinese aren't going for something that can go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. Do we need that? Of course, we don't need that, right? Theirs aren't as fast. They don't have as much energy density, but if you don't want a really fast car, realize one thing about Tesla that a lot of people don't know. Elon Musk, of course, did not start Tesla, right? It was a company he bought. And the guy who originated Tesla had the idea of making sports cars for rich people. His original ones were the fancy English Lotus sports cars, and then they made them into electric cars, right? So it started off on the wrong foot for most people. Most of us aren't buying expensive sports cars, right? You want transportation, and his cars are not transportation cars. They got too much crap in them. They cost too much money. Now there's competition coming in, and of course, it's always that thing about the new product, right? People didn't have electric cars. Let's try an electric car. Even in California, over 25% of the people who bought electric cars got rid of them and said, no, we're not going to get another electric car. We'll get a regular gasoline car. It was too much hassle. And that's in California, where there's quite a few chargers. I just got back from there, and there's chargers all over the place, right? Here in Tennessee, there aren't chargers all over the place. And when I'm in Rhode Island, there aren't chargers all over the place. So it really doesn't fit Americans, and it's no surprise that people are getting rid of these things. Tesla is having almost all of the Cybertrucks recalled by the federal government. Turns out that trim panels can detach and fly off because they're just glued on, right? And obviously they didn't use very good glue, or they didn't use enough of it. Right? Now, there are some very good glues out there. For instance, for quite some time, Audi has been making frames out of aluminum that are glued together. You may say, what, a frame glued together? They're super strong glues put in presses, and that glue holds. It holds. Now, of course, the problem is if you get in a wreck with one and it breaks the frame, it's pretty much goodbye car. I had a customer with one, the frame got wrecked, that was it. They totaled the car. They're made not to be repairable. They really don't care the way they build cars. It's like all of Tesla stuff, almost everything they make now, they got that gigapress that makes this giant part of the car. It's all one piece, right? Great. It saves them a lot of money when they build them, because instead of having like 47 different parts welded together, it's one big press. But guess what happens if you get in a wreck? That one big piece gets parts of it broken, end of car. That giant piece. You can't fix it, but you'd have to replace the whole thing, and that would be the end of it. That's another thing that people who have never owned a Tesla, or know any people who haven't, don't understand. They get in wrecks. They can be totaled like that. If the battery gets dent, that's generally going to total them $20-something thousand. If the aluminum stuff gets all bent up, that's pretty much it. You throw the car away, and especially the newer ones, when they started using the gigapress for the giant frame part, that gets broken, goodbye car. Yeah. So now all the Cybertrucks practically are being recalled because pieces are flying off of them. Really? Cybertruck in history is going to take over from the Edsel, the Ford Edsel, as the worst vehicle ever produced and sold to people in mass production. The Edsel will be passed in history. If you don't know about the Edsel, do a little research. They named it after one of Henry Ford's kids, Edsel Ford, and it was a disaster. But of course now they're collector's items because most people junked them and threw them away, and they're actually worth money if you have an original one now that's still going down the road. Now, as I say, not a fan of electric cars. I would say wait for the future as they perfect them. And here is another reason. Researchers took Tesla batteries apart and BYD batteries, that's a big Chinese company that makes electric cars, and they found a clear winner. And the winner was BYD, because they have their own batteries. It's called the BYD Blade battery. Well, Tesla has their 4680 battery that they've had problems. And this lies at the root of the problem of electric cars. Tesla wanted to make fast supercars, so they got ones that were really energy dense. They cost a ton of money to make, they have a limited lifespan, they can start on fire, but they go fast, right? He went down the wrong road from the beginning. The Chinese, on the other hand, they're making batteries that are less energy dense, they cost less, they recharge faster without problems, and they really don't have a problem starting on fire. Charges up faster. As I said to people years ago, they could make simple electric cars. Let's face the facts. Kids have little toy electric cars. There's a battery and a motor and a controller, right? They don't cost much money. Instead of making these super computer controlled, they go super fast. You don't need that crap. We do not need a car that goes 0 to 60 under 2 seconds. A car that can go almost 200 miles an hour. We don't need these cars. We need regular transportation cars. And it might be that the Chinese are the ones that are going to build it. Lower price, something that actually works. And what a lot of people don't understand is the markup of cars is such a game. Tesla marks them up a lot to make a big profit, right? But take a look at Toyota. In the rest of the world, they actually sell pickups that cost like around $10,000. And they're regular pickup trucks, right? The ones over here, pretty much, they start at $35,000 to $40,000. Now, they don't sell the cheap ones here. They are cheaper. They have less things to them. But they can be built, and they can be built at that price. When you look at the cost, the efficiency, and the durability, the real winner is, as these researchers said, BYD, the Chinese company. Their technology, they're building regular cars for regular people. And hey, if anything's going to make it in the electric car market, that's what's going to make it. You know, we don't need these super fast cars. As a matter of fact, they're dangerous. They've been proving all the accidents that these Teslas get into. They're too fast. They're just too wild, you know? And it doesn't matter what kind of controls you have. When you're going too fast, you're going to get in a wreck. It doesn't matter what kind of controls that they have. You can always override the controls and run into something. You can steer a car into a tree if you want to. It's going to hit the tree. Chinese, to me, seem to be going down the right track, where Tesla just took a sports car and he just tried to sell it to everybody for a whole bunch of money. Well, Trump has signed an order to increase critical mineral production in the United States. Could have a lot to do with cars. We import a lot of the minerals and the stuff that we make. You might not realize it, but when it comes to things like uranium, copper, potash, gold, and even coal, the United States imported 46% of its copper, 91% of its potash in 2023. That is a lot. And in 2023, the United States imported 99% of the uranium concentrate for the power plants. So it only makes sense that we need to start producing this thing here in the United States. Everything in the past was always, how can you get it the cheapest? How can you get it here? Well, if you don't depend on other countries, it's probably a good thing, right? If you can control things, it works out. Any company that keeps, I'll get my nuts from here, my bolts from over there, my electrical wiring from over there. Something goes wrong over there, something goes wrong over here because you can't make the stuff, right? Common sense. We have a lot of reserves of things, and rather than saving a penny, hey, it's the old adage of, okay, do you want to buy a t-shirt made in the United States, you pay $20 for it? Or do you want to buy a t-shirt made in the Philippines that costs $6.95? Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but if you're giving Americans jobs, it's better all around that way. And the same thing with cars. Hey, if you got to import all the parts to make them from somewhere else, it's not good for the United States because those jobs are being farmed overseas. And if there's a problem overseas, then there's going to be a problem with productions in this country too. Well, here's an interesting Volkswagen story. The country of India now says that squashing Volkswagen's $1.4 billion tax bill would be catastrophic. It turns out that the Indian government is claiming that Volkswagen in India was cheating on import taxes on things they were bringing into the country. And they say they owe $1.4 billion tax bill to the country of India. And Volkswagen is saying, no, we don't, no, we don't. They're putting some kind of legal mumbo jumbo about it's too late for you to complain about this now, la, la, la. What happened was the Indians scrutinized 12 years of Volkswagen shipment. And they are saying, hey, you owe us all these taxes. And it was over Audis. Bringing Audi stuff with a 78-page rebuttal that Volkswagen caused the delays by withholding crucial information and data about what it was importing. Now, that's the thing. You got to legally tell people what you're importing into the country. When I visited the British Virgin Islands, they import almost everything, right? And those guys, they check everything because they want to sell their local rum, for instance. So their local rum was very cheap, and it was good. I liked it, right? Let's say you wanted to have a margarita. A bottle of tequila there cost hundreds of dollars because they taxed and taxed and taxed it because that wasn't their product. And they would check every ship that came in to see if it had tequila or American whiskey or whatever, so they would pay the tariff, right? Well, the Indians are claiming that Volkswagen cheated and didn't give all the information. Now, Volkswagen isn't that big of a player in India, but if you didn't know it, India is now the third largest car market in the world. There's a lot of people in India, and they're starting to buy cars. U.S. used to be number one. Now China's the number one auto market in the world. United States is number two, but India is number three. They buy a lot of cars, and all the car manufacturers are watching this, and maybe they'll quake in their boots a little bit and not cheat about what they're importing into the country. Do it fair and square. So here's what we're bringing in. Well, hardy har har, here we go with electricity again. Massachusetts offshore wind farm is postponed 4 years. Isn't that fascinating? Donald Trump just got elected for 4 years, and now the company that was going to build them off of Cape Cod, off the coast of Massachusetts, is saying, we're going to delay this for 4 years, or more, of course. P Renewables did it. It's a Portuguese company. They were supposed to build it. And that company said, we're taking an impairment charge, because see, if they said they're going to start building it, and they don't build it, then they have to pay the fine that's in the contract. So they're paying the fine rather than building it. That shows you how bad this windmill crap in the ocean is. The production was supposed to start in 2025 and end in 2030. Well, now they say maybe we'll start in 2029. So I guess these EDP renewable guys they know Trump can't be reelected, right? So after 4 years, they're hoping the Democrats get in and then they'll start paying the money to build it. And for the time being, the company took a big write-off. They had to pay a fine for it. So that's telling you, this wind power stuff is a bunch of crap. If companies can't do it to make a profit, and they were getting billions for it, right? That'll show you it's not sustainable. It just isn't. Doesn't create enough energy for the money. And then, of course, they don't last that long because they're sitting in salt water and they just break down. Look at the ones the British and the Scottish have built. They didn't last that long. The blades came apart. The salt air rusted them. Not a smart idea. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.